To begin, you're going to need to safely raise and support the vehicle. For additional assistance with that task, please follow the link provided at the end of this video. This is a long and involved process. We're going to be referring to the link at the end of this video for additional information to keep the length of this video reasonable. Let's start with the front. Remove the two 7mm fasteners, green arrow, that mount the caliper to the caliper mounting bracket. For further instructions on removing your caliper, please follow the link. Support the brake caliper out of the way and never let it hang from the brake hose. Remove the two 18mm fasteners, green arrows, that hold the caliper mounting bracket to the spindle. Remove the caliper mounting bracket. Remove the 5mm Allen head screw that mounts the brake rotor to the axle flange and remove the brake rotor. If you need additional assistance with that, again, please follow the link at the end of this video. At the top of the left side spindle, where it pinches to the base of the strut, loosen and or remove the 16mm bolt, green arrow, and the 18mm nut, yellow arrow. Use a pry bar to spread apart the pinch, green arrow, on the base of the strut. Move the strut upward in the direction of the blue arrow while moving the spindle downwards to expose the center of the spindle and the 4 wheel bearing mounting fasteners. Remove either end of the sway bar link. This will allow you to move the strut without moving the spindle. Again, please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance. You can use a pry bar to lever up on the strut and move it up and out of your way, but be careful not to break the wheel speed sensor. If you are concerned about damaging the sensor, remove the 2 T25 torque bolts, red arrows, one already removed, and pull the sensor from the flange. Then tighten the pinch bolt, green arrow, so the strut does not slide down while you are working. This will give you clear access to all 4 wheel bearing mounting fasteners. Remove the 4 18mm fasteners that hold the wheel bearing assembly to the spindle. Have a helper hold the wheel bearing assembly. There's a chance it may fall out while loosening the fasteners, but it's usually a tight fit. Remove the wheel bearing assembly from the spindle. Since it may be a tight fit, you can use a soft hammer or mallet to tap on the hub flange, red arrow, to break it loose. Installation is the reverse of removal. Let's move on to the rear wheel bearing. Remove the two 7mm Allen head fasteners that hold the brake caliper to the caliper mounting bracket. Support the caliper and do not let it hang by the brake hose. Remove the two 16mm fasteners that mount the caliper mounting bracket to the spindle and remove the mounting bracket from the spindle. Remove the 5mm Allen head fastener that holds the brake rotor to the axle flange. Remove the brake rotor from the axle. Make sure the parking brake cable is fully released before removing the caliper. For additional assistance with this task, please follow the link provided at the end of this video. There are a few ways to detach the spindle to remove the axle shaft. I prefer taking the 2 inner lower control arm mounting fasteners, red arrows, out and dropping the lower control arm. You can also loosen the lower control arm fasteners to the spindle so you can lever the control arm out of the way. Either way, you can find more information by following the link provided at the end of this video. Remove the 6 T12 torque fasteners that hold the inner CV joint to the axle flange on the differential. Pull the axle shaft away from the axle shaft flange on the differential. With a sharp punch, tap out the pinch, yellow arrows, of the axle shaft nut. Remove the 36mm 12-point axle shaft nut, green arrow, from the end of the axle. You are going to have to replace this nut during installation. Leave the axle nut threaded on the shaft and tap the end of the shaft nut to break the axle loose from the hub. On the inside of the spindle, remove the 4 T14 torque fasteners, green arrows, that secure the wheel bearing, hub, and housing to the spindle. Have a helper hold the bearing assembly because it may fall out when the fasteners are removed. Remove the bearing assembly from the spindle. Installation is the reverse of removal. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.